The Seattle Seahawks go on the road to face their division rival Arizona Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. BETDAQ currently has Seattle installed as a 6.5-point favorite. 40 is the total in this game. When I first saw this number, I thought it was a little low. I had an early Seattle lean because, like most people, I'm very high on the Seahawks. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. I think they're much better than the Arizona Cardinals, and I do expect them to win this game. But the more I look at the game, the more I think the Seahawks might have trouble covering 6.5. Listen, it's no secret the Seahawks are a different team on the road than they are at home, especially on offense. The Seahawks in their 3 home games averaging a full 10 points per game more than they are in their 3 road games. 31.3 points per game at home, 21.1 points per game on the road. And the Arizona Cardinals playing very well on defense this season, 12th in the NFL in points allowed. They're especially good against the run. The Cardinals 5th in the NFL in rushing defense. And running the football is what the Seahawks try to do. I mean, Seattle, it might surprise you to know, they're only 24th in the NFL in passing offense. They really haven't opened it up much this season. I think that has more to do with their offensive philosophy than it does Russell Wilson, because Wilson showed towards the end of last season and into the playoffs that he could handle whatever they gave him on offense. If they wanted to open up the offense a little more, I do believe Russell Wilson could handle that. But that's not the road they want to go, and you can't argue with the results. Seattle 5-1 this season. They nearly made the Super Bowl last year with a similar philosophy, winning with their dominating defense and the power running game. So no doubt, Pete Carroll and the Seattle coaching staff, they know what they're doing. But still, their offense tends to fall asleep sometimes on the road. We saw them only produce 12 points earlier this season in Carolina. Their second road game, they were totally dominated through the first 3 quarters by the Houston Texans defense before waking up in the fourth quarter, coming back to win that game in overtime. And then their third game was a loss to their third road game, was a loss to the Indianapolis Colts. So the Seahawks do get somewhat plodding and predictable on offense sometimes, especially on the road. And I think the Arizona defense might have real success in this game slowing that Seattle offense. But I don't think the Arizona offense is going to have any success against the dominating Seattle defense that is currently second in the league in yards allowed and third in the league in points allowed. The Cardinals have really had a hard time on offense this season, and it surprised me a little bit. I thought with Bruce Arians coming in, an offensive guy, and with him bringing over Carson Palmer, who showed over the last couple of years in Oakland that he still had some left in the tank, I thought the Cardinals would be a little bit better on offense than they are, but the reality of the situation, through 6 games, Arizona just 26th in total offense, 25th in points scored. So be very surprised if they're able to score more than 14 to 17 points in this game on Thursday night. That is why my favorite bet here is the under. I realize we have a low total, 40, but again, we have 2 good defenses here. Well, 1 great defense and 1 good defense. And we have 1 offense that is downright bad, the Arizona Cardinals, and another offense that has had some troubles away from home. Mix in that these are 2 division rivals who know each other very well, and I think under 40 becomes a good-looking bet. Actually, my biggest fear with an under bet here is that the defenses will play so well that they'll either score themselves or set up the offenses for some short fields. Certainly, these teams both have players like cornerback Richard Sherman, who plays for the Seahawks, cornerback Patrick Peterson, who plays for the Cardinals, safety Tyrann Mathieu, who plays for Arizona, probably should be mentioned in this breath as well. Players, defensive backs, who have shown the ability to score themselves. So don't be surprised if we see a defensive touchdown in this game, and that certainly would be bad for an under bet. But you can't depend on things like that. Defensive touchdowns are certainly fairly rare, even though players like Sherman and Peterson score them at a higher rate than most players. So if you're going to be paranoid about defensive touchdowns, and if you're going to let that talk you out of an under bet, then you probably won't bet the under very often in the NFL. I think this game, Seattle and Arizona, is a good spot for an under bet. That is my favorite play here. I also lean towards Seattle on the money line.